Alright, what's good with y'all guys? BB10, welcome back to another reaction. Today we're gonna be reacting to Can Titan X take on Godzilla and Kong? This is by Goji Center. I think Titan X is gonna be coming up soon in the upcoming Legacy of the Monster series on Apple TV, I believe. But anyway, we're gonna check out this reaction, guys. So without further ado, where my camera go? Oh, there it is. Let's get into the video and play.
How can Titan X take on Godzilla and Kong? Will the new Titan take them on at once, or will it opt for the strategic route and take them on in different playing fields? Today on Goji Center, we revisit Titan X, now with a slightly more updated and accurate rendition, brought to life by the Goji Center modeling team and friends of the channel. And we'll try to figure out what else this kaiju can pull out of its sleeve. After all, it was mentioned that this new monster was going to be a huge threat to both alphas, and could even potentially be larger. Could we even go as far as saying this thing is a Ghidorah-level threat? We'll give you our honest opinion at the end, but first we're going to dig a little deeper into the possible origins, and even go as far as to speculate what other name could be given to this kaiju. Currently known as Titan X, possibly a placeholder for a name that will be given to it later on down the line. The name has the same ring to it as Monster Zero, which later turned out to be Ghidorah. Titan nomenclature like this tends to conclude with an actual species name given to the creature in question. This is not confirmed, but don't be surprised if Titan X is later named after a mythical titan that rises from the seas. What name then? There could be many. This guy doesn't appear to be listed by name in any prior Monsterverse media, so names like the Polynesian-inspired Titanus Nakika, the Kraken, and the thrown-around Alpha Meyer Squid are completely out of the question, because these look completely different. It also does not appear to be Marjigar, definitely not Tiamat from Sumerian myth, or Leviathan from Abrahamic mythology. So what then? The trailer has a man performing what seems to be a Buddhist ceremony in what looks like Japanese architecture. The Ainu are a culture from Japan distinct from what many people think of when they think of Japan. And in their stories, they tell of Akarokamui, an octopus-like monster so big it can devour whales and swallow ships. Interesting. We should note that most depictions of Akarokamui illustrate it in red color, but the Monsterverse has at times strayed away from mythological referencing, such as the case with Scylla, who really is a woman with multiple dog heads in Greek art, not a crab squid. Dagon is a harvest and agriculture god who looks nothing like Godzilla, but is at least aquatic. Alternatively, the trailer also has a sequence in an island setting likely far away from Japan. The sequence is set in the past, but might be used to foreshadow and set up Titan X. The Lusca from Caribbean folklore has not been used in the Monsterverse either. And
that's basically Sharktopus. Y'all know that movie from Shark? It's a thing called Sharktopus. If I could find a video, I could definitely put it up here. It was like, bro, come on, we all know that's Sharktopus. That's really what it is. A shark and octopus hybrid.
While often thought of as just a giant octopus or squid, it actually is usually a gestalt monster with features of a shark and other sea beasts. The mythological Sharktopus also is said to come from deep water formations called blue holes, which sounds a lot like a basis for a monster that appears out of portals from the world beneath. And once it comes out, then we have another issue. We aren't exactly sure how large this Titan is, and we won't find out until the show releases. But the trailer does imply that this creature is bigger than both Godzilla and Kong. And as mentioned in our previous video discussing this kaiju, it's also likely that both alphas haven't reached their peak stature just yet, especially since this will likely take place in or after the year 2017, 2 years before Godzilla King of the Monsters, and a whole 7 years before Godzilla vs. Kong. Clearly an aquatic kaiju and likely lived in an ocean above or below in the distant past, we saw that this Titan burst out of a mountain in Access Mundi with Shaw as witness. This image, released on the same day our first analysis video on Titan X was published, shows a slightly more revealing image of this Titan. Likely right after this Titan escaped Rocky Embrace, and seems like this image also took place in Access Mundi. We're going to study this today for one main reason, and that is that there's no water around. and bring
Wait, is Access Monday, is that like connected to Hollow Earth or something? Or is that is like a or like what's the difference between Access Monday or Mindy or whatever it's called and Hollow Earth? What's the
up
difference?
the question on whether or not this monster can fight on land, and really, if it's able to square up against the purely terrestrial Titan Kong. Many have brought up the idea that this creature has some sort of crustacean-like appendages under its body that aid it in walking on land, adhering to the idea that
More
tentacles
likely.
aren't quite the most adequate limbs to move about on dry ground. While we're not exactly sure yet if it does indeed carry smaller limbs, we're siding with the idea that Titan X walks around using these tentacles. Why? Well, the cave art seen in the trailer gives us our answer. Take a look at the curved posture of the tentacles. Very uncanny method of moving, yes.
Ooh,
Unrealistic in the real world, also yes. But we're
Definitely.
dropping this logic simply because we're dealing with a cinematic universe that already breaks the laws of physics extensively. And if you
Very
look
much.
closely, it seems like Titan X is also moving around in the same manner. Tentacles curved inward, and one above its body likely used as a piercing weapon to use as spear, or possibly a whip of sorts. Remember Shimo's cave art? Pretty accurate depictions of the Titan before she appeared on screen. Same case with Rodan and Monster Zero. So it's safe to say that this silhouette is actually a very good indicator of how this thing looks and moves. But tentacles walking on land is not far-fetched from reality. This might surprise a few of you, but cephalopods, like many species of octopi, are capable of maneuvering on land and staying out on land from minutes up to a whole hour.
They can't stand up though. They can only do that. They can only crawl around like that. They cannot stand up at all. Their limbs not strong enough. My goodness, it's looking at octopuses. It's kind of nasty. I don't know why. It's just nasty to look at. I don't know.
As long as they remain moisturized, of course. But this Titan isn't just part cephalopod. In fact, most of this creature might be reptilian in appearance. In combat,
course.
this might be decisive. Titan X is clearly a chimera, but it has some traits of very recognizable animals. We're willing to bet these tentacles are going to be their primary weapon. Colossal squid is the
Especially
largest
got some
known
claws over
species
there.
of cephalopod, far heavier than the more well-known giant squid. Largely only found in the southern oceans, the colossal squid's tentacles and arms respectively are lined with barbed hooks and serrated rings of teeth. Titan X has a more extreme take on this, but the idea works all the same. Snag, shred, and entrap a large target before bringing it in. That's if your mouth wasn't on the top of your body. Here's where things begin to look a bit interesting. Note that in this clip, the tentacles attacking this ship are bringing the ship below the water. But given how this kaiju's anatomy is arranged, Titan X's method of attack underwater would be to ensnare victims in front of it, disabling any limbs that might fight back with its sharp tentacles and bring the victim closer to its mouth, filled with seemingly many sharp translucent teeth.
It do got-
The same might have happened with the ship. We'll cover why this kaiju might have attacked this ship in a little bit, but let's
That kaiju is doing it for the love of the game. There is no explanation. It's because because his mouth is not underneath the thing. You know how octopus and squids usually have it. It's not like that with this Titan. So this Titan is literally doing it for the love of the game, bro. Gotta be.
take a look at what would happen on land. This is where it gets more interesting. Do not be surprised if we learn that there could be some sort of internal skeleton or some support structure going down here, as we are almost 100% positive that there is a skeleton underneath the upper half of this monster. This would give it a more plausible reason as to why Titan X could walk on land, but even more importantly, having more rigid appendages also means even more stronger attacks, even better muscle attachments, and these things would be a lot more difficult to cut or slice off. Walking on 4 tentacles and using at least 2 more as arms to strike from above. This creature's
Yeah,
many
totally
limbs
is.
could restrain another foe and use any remaining arm to land lethal strikes. Surely Kong will have to end up getting very creative when dealing with a foe
for
like
sure.
this.
For sure.
Again, a reminder.
Oh yeah, also, whenever this team finally gets revealed, I really hope we get an action figure of this. Hopefully Playmates and higher in them. They can make some figures out of this, because I feel like this would be a pretty interesting figure to own. Cause I know Playmates, they low-key been cooking recently with their toys. With that Scylla release and Rodan release. Yeah, they've been cooking lately. So hopefully we get a action figure of this.
Reminder that this is all speculation. To successfully fend off a Titan like this, Kong would have to leverage some sort of ranged weapon if he wants to come out of this with less injuries. Kong wouldn't have an axe until 7 years later, so anything from hurling sharp logs or throwing boulders would do some damage without risking his hide. If there's any continuity in the Monsterverse, we could say that the Great Ape already has experience fighting giant cephalopod titans in the past, as was the case in 1995 when Kong faced the Kraken, a strangely similar monster with even more limbs, claws, and a malevolent resolve. Titan X probably isn't just going to face Kong, so there is a very good chance it might run into Godzilla, especially since a Titan this size will not go unnoticed by the G-Man. If we assume that Titan X only has these melee abilities, then to be completely honest, Titan X is toast. Literally, Godzilla's atomic weaponry is powerful enough to incinerate almost any Titan in seconds.
I really hope we can get some good fight scenes in Monarch Legacy of the Monsters, bro. Because season 1, they did have a little like a 1-minute fight, but that really wasn't it. Even though it's not really about that, but it's like it would be really nice to see some monster action and Monarch Legacy of the Monsters. I like to see a good fight between Godzilla and this creature. See how it's, because that's what I want to see. That's what we really need to see, bro. That's what's gonna make the Monarch Legacy of the Monster show better.
We saw in GXK when the G-Man cooked this Titan's grill and then cut up another Titan to bits. This is why we think Titan X has more than just melee prowess. It needs to have something to level the playing field against a kaiju with atomic breath underwater in his element, and then fighting against a terrestrial alpha Titan with ranged weapons on his own turf. The fact that this creature is said to be bioluminescent, likely blue given the eye coloration, and a cool detail showing that the rock in which he cracked from also seemed to have blue glow, lets us know that this Titan could also wield a radioactive weapon of some kind. We already discussed the theory that this kaiju resembles energy that was harnessed by the battle axes in the Great Ape's temple, and the kind of stuff that enraged Godzilla once he got a whiff of it activating more than 1,000 miles below the crust. So, having said this, it's no wonder this animal would constantly be looking for energy sources to consume as well. Perhaps this could explain what happened to this ship. After being an ocean, anything containing any kinds of energy is fair game for this monster. Whether this kaiju will face Godzilla first and then Kong, or the other way around, is still yet to be revealed.
I feel like it's gonna face off against Kong first, since this season is gonna be like more Kong focused. So it definitely makes sense for this creature to face off Kong first, then Godzilla. I'm not hopeful. Hopefully Kong don't lose. Hopefully it's like a stalemate, but hopefully Godzilla can beat this kaiju down.
What we do know for sure is that we will witness a dynamic battle like never before, and perhaps even witness the King of the Monsters set his eyes on the King of the Island for the first time in the Monsterverse timeline.
Well, I like this. Oh yeah, I really like this. So I cannot wait to see what this new season brings. Hope you guys did the video. If y'all did, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'm out.